Forget the bright colors of the Spider-Man you know. This one wears a trench coat, carries a gun, and hunts justice in the dark alleys of New York. Let's jump into the video and find out who is Spider-Man Noir. Peter Parker of Earth 90214 grew up in New York, raised by his Aunt May and Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben had been a pilot in the Great War. He was a man hardened by battle and sharpened by conviction. This Uncle Ben never gave Peter the "with great power comes great responsibility" speech. Instead, he told Peter that if those in power can't be trusted, it's the responsibility of the people to remove them. Both Ben and May were activists, voices of defiance in a city drowning in corruption. It may have been Ben's activism that cost him his life. The official story claimed he was mauled by wild dogs, yet Peter's heart told him otherwise. He knew that Norman Osborn, the Goblin, somehow had a hand in his uncle's death. It was the winter of 1932. The Great Depression had hollowed New York into a husk of hunger and crime. Aunt May stood in a park, her voice ringing out against injustice, when Osborn's thugs descended and turned their fury on her and Peter. Salvation came in the form of Ben Urich, a hardened photojournalist known in the underworld as the Spider. Urich stopped the men and saw something in Peter. He later helped Peter secure a job at the Daily Bugle, and together they began to prowl the city streets. One night, Peter followed up on a tip that was meant for Urich. The tip led him to a warehouse where Osborn's men were unloading stolen relics. Carelessly, they shattered a Spider-Totem, unleashing a swarm of arachnids that attacked them. One spider sank its fangs into Peter, flooding his mind with visions of a primal spider god. When Peter awoke, he was cocooned in black webbing. He clawed his way free and discovered his body had changed. He now carried the powers of a spider. Using a mask to hide his identity, Peter confronted Norman Osborn, demanding that he shut down his empire of crime. But in that moment of defiance, Peter uncovered a bitter truth. Urich was working with Osborn. Shocked, Peter confronted his mentor. Soon gunfire erupted, forcing Peter to flee. Peter then stitched together a costume that resembled his uncle's war uniform. Urich, inspired by Peter's courage, resolved to do the right thing. He prepared to hand over the evidence he had long hoarded against the Goblin, the same evidence he had once used to blackmail Osborn to feed his addictions. But before he ever had a chance to redeem himself, Urich was murdered. His former lover, Felicia Hardy, the owner of the Black Cat, stepped into the void. She gave Peter Urich's evidence, warning him that the authorities of the Bugle were already in Osborn's pocket. If the Goblin were to fall, Peter would have to wield the truth himself. Spider-Man struck Osborn's operations with precision, dismantling them piece by piece. Osborn quickly realized his enemy wasn't just guessing. Someone was feeding Spider-Man information. Then, when he learned that Peter Parker had met with Felicia Hardy, he concluded that Peter himself was the source. Meanwhile, Spider-Man sought out Jonah Jameson to uncover why he was entangled with Osborn. But when Peter arrived, Jameson lay mortally wounded. As Peter knelt beside him, pistol in hand, the police stormed in. To them, it looked like murder. Peter fled, knowing that he had been set up. Later, he slipped into the morgue under the cover of night to examine the body. What he found chilled him. It wasn't Jameson at all. The corpse belonged to the Chameleon, who was disguised as Jameson. Norman Osborn, ever the calculating predator, sent Adrian Toomes the Vulture to capture Peter Parker and bring him to him. But when Toomes arrived at the Parker residence, he found Aunt May instead. The encounter turned violent. As May's life laid in the balance, Spider-Man burst onto the scene, shooting and killing Adrian Toomes. Yet, instead of gratitude, May's eyes burned with condemnation. In her eyes, Spider-Man had just shot down an unarmed man, and the sting of May's disapproval cut Peter deeper than any wound. Driven by duty and rage, Spider-Man stormed Osborn's stronghold. He tore through the Goblin's men, and in the melee, Kraven the Hunter was hurled into a glass case, crawling with the spiders from the Spider-Totem. As the swarm consumed Kraven, Osborn slipped away, dragging Felicia Hardy, his abducted prize, into the night. Peter pursued his nemesis, and when he finally caught up to Osborn, the two clashed in a brutal showdown. During the struggle, Osborn ripped away Spider-Man's mask, revealing him to be Peter Parker. The revelation only fueled the battle's intensity, but in the end, Peter triumphed. Standing over the defeated Goblin, Peter chose justice over vengeance. But fate had other plans. From the darkness, Kraven emerged, his body now a grotesque vessel crawling with the Spider-Totem's brood. The spider-infested hunter struck, and Norman Osborn's reign ended. Peter's life in the shadows was never simple. By day, he snapped photographs for the Bugle, but by night, the mask returned and Spider-Man patrolled the city streets. Shortly after the Goblin's downfall, a new shadow rose over New York, the Crime Master, a ruthless figure carving his empire from fear and blood. While Spider-Man hunted down clues of the Crime Master's true identity, Peter found himself wrestling with his own heart. Felicia Hardy had captured his imagination. Her allure was undeniable, but Felicia kept her distance, reminding Peter that affection did not mean devotion. While taking a break from chasing leads, Peter joined his friend Robbie Robertson on an interview with Dr. Otto Octavius. Robbie's instincts screamed that Octavius was hiding something vile, but Peter dismissed his warnings until the truth clawed its way into the light. Spider-Man soon learned that the Crime Master was abducting African-American citizens, and Robbie himself vanished into the mobster's grip. Spider-Man confronted the Crime Master and was nearly beaten to death by the Sandman, Crime Master's brutal henchman. He was saved by the arrival of federal agent Jean DeWolf. With the agent's aid, Peter uncovered a darker thread. Octavius was not merely complicit, but he was a willing partner, aligned with the Crime Master and the Friends of New Germany. Spider-Man stormed the lab, freed the captives, but arrived too late to save Robbie. His friend's mind had already been butchered by Octavius' scalpel. The Crime Master took Robbie as a hostage, only to be betrayed and executed by Octavius himself. Octavius was then taken into custody and deported to Germany weeks later. Returning to Manhattan, Peter sought out Felicia. Peter learned that Felicia was recovering from her wounds after being attacked by the Crime Master. Her bodyguard informed Peter that Felicia blamed Spider-Man for her suffering and wanted nothing more to do with him. Peter was heartbroken. Peter could have never envisioned the multiversal adventures he was about to be dragged into. Spider-Man was drawn into a confrontation with the magician Mysterio to rescue Felicia Hardy. Just as Spider-Man managed to save Felicia, he was attacked by Karn, a member of the Inheritors. The Inheritors are a family of totemic hunters obsessed with killing those possessing spider powers across the multiverse. Peter was saved by Superior Spider-Man, who pulled Peter through time into the year 2099. Peter then learned of the war that spanned across realities. He was drafted into the Superior Spider Army, fighting alongside countless variants against the Inheritors. Missions blurred into nightmares, one Peter mutating into a man-spider, Silk's recklessness drawing enemies closer, and Peter himself being gravely wounded. After recovering, he joined the Web Warriors, a team of interdimensional spider people. He assisted them in battling an army of alternate versions of Electros before making the ultimate sacrifice. While trying to stop Morlun from returning, he set off a grenade, dying in the explosion. His death echoed across worlds, but of course he wouldn't stay dead. The Spider God resurrected Peter, declaring that his service was unfinished. Spider-Man Noir is gifted with the proportionate strength, speed, agility, stamina, and reflexes of a spider. His resilience allows him to withstand severe punishment, while his spider senses warn him of danger before it strikes. Unlike the mainstream Spider-Man, his webbing is organic, fired directly from his wrist. Beyond his powers, Peter is a skilled investigator and strategist with sharp instincts and honed combat skills. He is a formidable hand-to-hand combatant and highly proficient with firearms, which he embraces as part of his arsenal. Every spider leaves a mark in the web. If this video pulled you into our web, leave your mark by subscribing and leaving a like. Also, ring that bell so you never miss out on a video. Well, as always, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to stop by the channel and check out this video. That does it for this one. Thanks for watching. Peace.